Noah's Ark is just directly plagiarizing the story of Deucalion from Greek mythology.
It's too early for this, but let's see what he has to say.
Surprised at how often that happens, actually, to the point where it's almost like Christianity is just Zeus's retelling of the Greek myths.
So if memory serves me right, in Deucalion and Pyrrha, who are the Noah's wife figure, repopulate the earth by taking stones and throwing them over their shoulders. So if Noah's story is just a plagiarism of this myth, where does that happen? And then I don't understand the argument of the Bible being a plagiarism of Greek mythology, because Deucalion is around, I think we have the earliest documents like around 800 to 500 BC, but we have documentation of Mesopotamians having flood myths back to 1650 BC. Now, I'm not a big fan of the whole this myth copy that myth theory. I think it really oversimplifies everything as a whole, and I think it's a little disrespectful to these myths, actually, because each of these myths is telling us a different thing from a different perspective. I think it's better to characterize each myth as a perspective on a shared memory. So no, I'd argue myth stealing doesn't happen all that often, if at all, and I talk about this a lot on my podcast and in the various content I put out on YouTube. This video the content creator did was pretty long, so I'm just going to nab one more clip and talk about it here. If you want a full breakdown of all the points that he mentions in his video, because it's a pretty popular video, drop a comment and I will go through and break it down a little more.
There's no Adam and Eve in Greek mythology, so what's all that about? He's slandering Prometheus. So Prometheus helped create the first humans out of clay.
But again, making out of clay, that's a common motif for the Mesopotamians, because what was the most common commodity for building materials for bricks and for writing? Clay. You got the Tale of Atrahasis open right here, and it has several pages talking about the creation of humanity from clay. Again, I'm not a big fan of the myth copying theories, but I bring all this to your attention to make a point. If we're going to argue myth copying, why aren't we going back to the oldest source materials instead? We're pulling more recent ones like Deucalion. That doesn't make sense to me unless this content creator has some sort of like bias or something that he's trying to confirm. But if you like deep dives into myths like these and want to get to the truth that our ancients left behind for us, be sure to like and subscribe, and you might want to check out our podcast.